When recovering from an injury or medical condition, there is no better place than home. Here to tell us more about what Home Rehab Express can do for you or a loved one is Marco Porras. He is the owner of Home Rehab Express and also Dr. John Mihalik with Orthopedic Center of Florida. So great to see you both this morning.
Thank you.
We talk about recovering from an injury, and there really is no better place than home, right, Marcos?
Absolutely.
How can Home Rehab Express really play a role in that?
We are basically the first line of rehabilitation once you come home from surgery. Just imagine having a team of medical professionals goes out to your house and establishes a program for your rehabilitation right after surgery.
And when we're talking about rehabilitation, you see all sorts of injuries. Today we're going to talk about shoulders.
Yes.
Dr. Mihalik, what kind of injuries with shoulders do you see a lot of?
I think the two broad categories really that we can divide for the population in Southwest Florida really are things that revolve more around wear change or arthritis versus an injury potentially to the rotator cuff. Those are two potentially most common things that we see in this area.
What is recovery time like? I mean, I'm sure it depends on, you know, which injury and the different, everybody's situation is different, but what do you typically see?
So recovery time varies from as short as a few weeks to as much as a few months for most procedures that we perform. Obviously, what we try to do is avoid surgical procedures where possible and try to keep people functioning the way that they'd like to function as much as they possibly can without surgery. But when surgery is necessary, it depends on the style of surgery. We talk about two sort of broad categories. Operations where we simply clean things out on the inside versus operations where we might do so-called reconstructive surgery. We're going to build your shoulder back together in the way Mother Nature originally had it, or potentially replace your shoulder.
And I know a lot of times you're dealing with rotator cuff injuries too. How do you determine what the injury is as far as that?
So rotator cuff is a series of 4 muscles and tendons that help you lift your arm up and rotate in all directions. Most people don't realize this, but most rotator cuff tears do not occur as a consequence of injury or trauma. They generally occur attritionally, so think like the frayed edges of a rope. Eventually what happens is the tendon begins to break down over time, and at some point what happens is a straw breaks the camel's back and that last thread breaks through, and that's when patients have symptoms. The most common symptoms for rotator cuff problems are night pain primarily, so people have difficulty sleeping, keeping their arm in certain positions, and then positional discomfort, so trying to reach up into the cabinet to get a coffee cup or trying to get something like a gallon of milk out of the refrigerator, they notice pain in certain positions.
To find out more about Home Rehab Express and how they can help you during a recovery, an injury like this, recovering from an injury rather, go to our website. It's so great to see you both this morning. We look forward to having you back. We're going to have more information on Home Rehab Express and how they can help you at fox4morningblend.com.